I don't believe we're called to be members of something. Jesus didn't say go make members. He said go make disciples. Some people think that's semantics, but it's more than semantics. Membership to me is when you join a country club. Discipleship is when you become a part of the church. Christ wants us to be disciples. But the church has used this word for so long, we're going to use them interchangeably, and you'll hear me say members. But Pastor Winter gave me, from 1972 until he retired, every single end-of-year report. And you can see that the church grew from 1972 just under 400. When I was here from 1972, 73 until 1980, we doubled in size. Probably because I was no longer here. It really grew to almost 1,300 members, somewhere in that area. I'm questioning the numbers we have now, and I think, based on what I'm being told, we need to look at our roles now and clean them up.
What about the fact that Crossroads
I'm gonna be the one.
Yeah.
So right where that spike is, that's when Crossroad came, and that's why we dropped.
This is where you're going to run me out of here. I believe that what we're supposed to do is plant a church, grow it, and have that church plant another church, and plant another church. I've always said I wanted to be a grandparent of a church before I retire. I want to be at the church, plant some church, and have that church grow so much they did plant some church. We want to reach people for Christ. We want them to learn about the grace, mercy, and love of Jesus. That's the reason you grow the church. The other stuff will happen. If we grow for God's sake, remember it's the church of Christ in every age, not the church of Advent. If you see people walk in the doors and you say, oh, new people, wow, if we get a few more, we'll have more money to reach our budget. Well, churches do that, and they don't grow. Okay. Next slide, please. Worship attendance. Notice it's very similar. Okay. Very similar trend, which you would kind of expect. Next slide. Both of them together. Now, I drew these two lines on here for a reason. 2013 worship attendance was about 204. I want you to look at when it was last that low. Probably in between these two. 1975. Where we are currently in our worship life is similar in numbers. You've got to go all the way back to when I was a teenager being confirmed at Advent. We got to do something about that. The other thing I would have you look at, membership number, about the same time. And then again, after I left, man, I just thought of that. Yeah. Next slide, please. Imagine a community of faith where the average weekly worship attendance is greater than the number of disciples members, because most disciples are attending when they're not ill, shut in, or out of town, and they're also inviting others.